Hey y'all, I'm Val from Our Forever Farm. Today we're making a Japanese fruit pie. I believe this was my grandma Cochran's recipe, but my mom used to make it at holidays. It's really, really good. It does have pecans and coconut and raisins. Sweet Hunter doesn't even like coconut, and he likes this pie. So I had to make 2 more pie crust because we made a chocolate pie the other day out of one of my pie crusts that was in the freezer. If you missed my pie crust video on how to make a simple pie crust, go back and look up Our Forever Farm butter pie crust. You'll find it there. I'll try to link it in the description box along with this recipe. First of all, we're going to melt 2 sticks of butter. So I did this in a saucepan, but you can actually do it in the microwave if you prefer, and just mix all the ingredients together. So I'm going to turn this on medium, and we're just going to melt 2 sticks of butter. That's how we start. So we're just melting our butter in a pan. So while our butter is melting, I'm going to go ahead and crack the eggs. This recipe calls for 4 eggs. My eggs are kind of small because my chickens are young, so I'm using an extra egg in here. But 4 eggs is what it calls for. So we melted our butter. You can do it in the microwave, you can do it in a saucepan, however you want to do it. Just don't get it really boiling hot or anything. You just want to melt it because you're going to add your other ingredients in there. And the first thing we're going to add is 2 cups of sugar. So this is just one of those melt the butter and add the rest of the ingredients kind of pie. And it makes 2 pies. It's really good. You can also freeze these pies if you want to after they're done for another event. Our oven is preheated to 325. Next, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of white vinegar. And this is very important. I know it sounds weird, but this is very important. It just makes the pie. So 2 tablespoons, and this is a 2 tablespoon measurement. We're going to stir this up. The vinegar, the sugar, and the butter is in there, and we're going to stir it up. And we don't want the butter too hot because the next ingredient is the 4 eggs. Unless you have small chickens like me, and you'll add an extra egg in case you're not big enough. So the reason you don't want your mixture too hot is because you don't want to scramble your eggs, and you want to immediately stir all that in. You can temper that if you want to. Temper means to take some of your hot mixture and mix it in with your eggs. But if you do this, with the sugar and the vinegar is going to cool it down, and then you just constantly stir. Next, we're going to add 1 cup of raisins, and we're going to stir that in, all at the same time. Next, we're going to add 1 cup of pecans. I use chopped, but you can use halves if you like. Next, we're adding 1 cup of coconut. And like I say, if you don't like coconut, try it anyway. It's good, I'm telling you. So, I didn't think about this, but I actually made my pie shells deep dish, so I hope I have enough. If not, we'll mix up another batch. But I think we're going to have to, because this is for deep pie shell right there. That took every bit of that. And I didn't think about that. But so don't do as I do, do as I say. So remember, if you make deep dish pie shells, you'll need to double the recipe. So note to self, if you make deep dish pie shells, make 2 batches. If you're making regular pie shells and not the deep dish like I made these, deep dish means the sides are up further, and I wasn't even thinking. But anyway, if you're just using regular pie shells, and you can make this a regular pie shell, either one of these, by having your sides down flat, you know, and using a fork to go around it, then this will make 2 pies. But not now. Okay, I've got my butter melted. Sweet Hunter was so sweet to bring me a Coke. Thank you so much. That helps. So we're just gonna do this again. So we're gonna add 2 cups of sugar. And we're gonna stir this up. We're gonna add 2 tablespoons of vinegar. I feel like this is deja vu. I started to say what my granny used to say. She said, crazy me. When she would make a quilt and she would get aggravated with it or she'd make a mistake, she said, crazy me. And she would just fold it up and she would put it away. It went in the cold bedroom. You know, back in the day when our grandparents had the cold rooms where they put their cakes and stuff. She would fold her quilt away and put it in the bedroom. And that was it. So now we're gonna add our eggs. We've already got them beaten. We're gonna stir them again. See, I'm just getting a double lesson here. The lesson is, if you make a pie shell and you don't want it to be deep dish, don't make big sides on it. But it'll be fine, it'll be good. 1 cup of raisins, 1 cup of nuts. Let's go ahead and put the coconut in. 1 cup of coconut. And that's your pie. So it's butter. I'm reading the recipe to make sure. It's butter, sugar, vinegar, eggs, raisins, pecans, and coconut. And a regular size pie shell, unless you want to make deep pie shells. Put it in a regular pie shell. This will make 2 pies. In a deep dish like I made, wasn't thinking, it will make 1. And that's all right. It's gonna be a beautiful pie. Pour this in the pie shell. My oven's still waiting at 325. Look how pretty this is. And then this one has been sitting here just a few minutes, so it's ready to go in the oven. It's been screaming, why am I not in the oven? If you're afraid those might spill over in your oven, put something under them. And I might do that if I see they're gonna spill. But I've got a cookie sheet in the bottom of my oven. But it better not spill because I just cleaned my oven yesterday. All right, I'm gonna clean this up. We're gonna bake this at 300, oh, I think I said 325. We're gonna bake this at 300 for 35 minutes. I better cut it down. Crazy me. I have to tell y'all a comment I had on YouTube, and it was about these little things that I cut off of the pie crust. I thought this was the neatest thing. Now, my grandma Cochran, when she made an apple pie, she used these to make leaves and things like that, stems to put on top of it. It was so pretty. But I usually just throw these to my chickens. So anyway, Jimmy, I believe, him and his wife cook a lot and cook a lot together, and they're gonna try the pie crust that I did. One little hint, when you get it out of the freezer and thaw it out overnight, it may come out crumbly. And as you can see, as I made these others, that you can see that you have to warm it up some. So when we first make them, we want to keep it as cold as we can. When we take them out of the freezer, then the refrigerator overnight, we want to warm them up some. And that makes it easier to work with. If you have a crack or something in it, just pull it together. You can see how I did it in this video. I think I'll show it at the end. I may show it at the beginning, who knows. But anyway, let's get back to these. So I think this is such a good idea. So he said that his, I think Mama did this when she did pie crust. And she took the leftover little things that you cut off and she sprinkled cinnamon sugar on them. So we're gonna do it today. He didn't say to do this, Jimmy didn't, But I was talking to Sweet Hunter about it, and I said there's nothing for the cinnamon sugar to stick to. So I melted just a little bit of butter, and I'm just going to put it on the pie crust, just like this. Maybe Jimmy can pop in here and tell us whether she did that or not, or if he has a better way. So I'm just going to put it on the top just so the cinnamon sugar will have something to stick to. I think this is the neatest idea. And I love to learn from others. I keep this little jar of cinnamon sugar in my pantry for toast or oatmeal. I think this is going to be good. Our pies are in the oven cooking. And I'm just going to put this right in there with them. We'll have to watch that close because I don't know how long that will take to cook, but I bet it's going to start smelling really good here in a minute. So my pies are taking longer because I did them deep dish, and I also did them in 2 different ovens with something underneath them. Because of the deep dish and the butter in that pie crust, you want to make sure something's under it. If it was just a single regular crust, you wouldn't have to worry. But looky here. Don't those look good? So this is the leftover crust with cinnamon sugar on them. They're so good. Very, very good. Thank you so much for the suggestion, Jimmy and wife. My grandbabies would love these. So because I made these deep dish pie shells, and I used 1 batch to make 1 deep dish pie, it took longer to bake this. So where you bake a single regular pie shell for 35 minutes, these had to bake for about 50 minutes. Isn't it pretty? So beautiful. The recipe will be in the description box. It's prettier because that pie shell being a deep dish fit better in this pan. And you can see the butter dripping off there. It's so good. So how you know that these pies are done is they don't jiggle. There's no liquid in them. Yeah, I mean, they shake a little bit, but there's not much liquid in them. These are delicious. Japanese fruit pie. I hope y'all enjoy it. I hope you try it. It's really good. Whether you make your own pie shell or whether you buy one, it doesn't matter. These are so good for the holidays. So I won't be doing a taste test on these because they're hot. I'm going to let them cool. I'm going to wrap them and go put them in my cold room. So this is me making the pie shells that we just made the 2 pies in. I wanted just to refresh your memory. If you're interested in making homemade pie shells, watch the last video before this one if you haven't watched it. It's showing you how to make this pie shell. It's so easy. Now what I'm doing now is I took it out of the freezer. I thawed it out in the refrigerator overnight. So my pie shell was frozen, and then it was really, really cold. So when you get it out of the refrigerator after thawing out, they're still really, really cold. Once you get it out and start rolling it out, you're going to get discouraged a little bit if you don't know your pie shell well. And what it is, the more you roll, the more you handle it after it's been frozen, the more you're going to warm it up. And I know that sounds a little contradictory since the video before this, I told you how cold you need to keep it, but now it's been frozen, it's been thawed out. And it's just really, really cold. So what you're going to do is just roll and turn, roll and turn. The more you roll, the more you warm it up. And if you have any tears, any rips, any crumbs, just patch them on there and keep rolling, keep rolling. You'll figure it out, I promise. So here I am, thanking somebody for this beautiful gift, and no volume. This is towels on both ends. It's like a scarf around your neck. I received this a while back and never has said a public thank you. I wanted to do that today. I also want to say a special thank you for the Thanksgiving cards, the Christmas cards. We love them all. Thank you so much for the prayers for Sweet Hunter. Thank you for watching. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Y'all go cook something.